It's a beautiful night here in Sepang, and what sounds do you hear? It's the sound of V6 engines here in Sepang, Malaysia, Selangor, Malaysia. Welcome everyone to Formula Hololive Japan season. It's a split B race here tonight, and if there's anything we can take from the split A race yesterday, last night, then we're going to see a lot of great racing here in Split B. So anyways, track map, 5.5 kilometers of racetrack, 15 corners of Sepang you need to deal with, 56 laps of racing as well for this race. We did 56 laps before in the Split A race, but now it's going to be another 56 laps for the Split B, guys. Of course, we're still racing in the Sepang Grand Prix. It's a split season finale, the last split race of the season for both Hololive GT3 and Formula Hololive. From September onwards, it will be a knockout format for all of the races. We've seen F1 and Super GT once race here, but now it's Formula Hololive that races here tonight. We're going multi-class for this round. EN and ID cars are going to be included as well. First of all, let's take a look into the scratch the overall standings. Let's take a look into the split standings. Obviously, we are looking into a situation. Callum Gibbons have already sorted out the Split A title, but it's not official yet on his status as a overall split champion because we still have a few things that we need to sort out. We're looking at Shakib Reza, who is in the driver's seat in terms of this championship, 422 points over Daniel Barger, who only has 407. Shakib Reza representing Momono Suzunene and Daniel Barger representing Hoshimachi Suisei. They are only 15 points apart, so honestly there is literally less things in it. So assuming Shakib Reza doesn't score points, Barger needs to score at least a what should be a 11th and above for him to secure the Split B title, assuming his other title contenders do not score points. Looking into Danilo Goyena, who races for Sada Pecora, he is only 70 points behind Shakib Reza, championship leader. He obviously needs to do a lot to be ahead of Shakib Reza. He probably needs to hope can probably finish with 71 points. He will need to target at least what should be in the top fringes of the points, which is like 8th or 7th. That is what Goyena needs to go. And for another driver here, Zach Champagne, he replaces Mika Margus after Marcus's amazing showing in the last round at Tokachi. Zach Champagne looks to continue her reigns, and now he is only 85 points behind Shakib Reza. They need to think of maybe a 6th or 7th in order for him to have any realistic shot of winning this championship. And Altazar Tanarao, one of the fringe participants of this race, needs to hope that all of the top 4 score points or at least score minimal points and Tanarao to win this race. And in terms of anyone here, Tanarao is the only one who is in a must-win scenario. And in terms of the overall split things, Shakib needs 8th or better to beat Callum Gibbons' points tally. Daniel Barger needs to finish 6th or better. Daniel Goyena, 4th or better. For Zach Champagne, 4th or better as well. For Altazar Tanarao, he is already mathematically out of contention for the overall split championship. And since we're also going to be racing both EN and ID class cars, we've already raced Split A with the ones with the blue A. We've already raced that. We've already raced these cars. Now we're going to be racing the Split B cars marked with the letter B and the color orange, so you can feel free to check them out. We've been seeing 17 new drivers since we announced Formula Hololive, and Split B also has a lot of changes as well. You feel free to pause the stream or video if you want to take a read, because we're going to go straight forward into the international portion of the Spotters Guide. We're looking at Putri Farah Kamal, Muhammad Cashew. Putri Farah Kamal have already won a race for Bavolia Rene, continuing her good performances even for the Meratyats. And looking at Lance Oryx and Anita Perez. Lance Oryx, the 2022-2023 Hololive GT3 International Series ID class champion. And then we have Anita Perez for Hakos Bales, and then Fawaz Mori for Shinababuna, the International Series champion of 22-23. Nasser Daham won in the Ying class of the World Grand Prix. That's for Putri Kamal. She won overall. Aaron Mazzi for Iris. And then we have Barney Ishikawa III and Brendan McCauley rounding out the field. So anyways, it's time for us to basically switch things over into the next session of this session, which is the qualifying session. Again, we apologize for the background audio. Living with a family has got to be quite the stress sometimes. So anyways, we're looking into the first few drivers who are getting out on track. I'm Mama Shazareza in the commentary booth, and still it's going to be a solo effort. Looking into the first driver who comes out, it is going to be no surprise, Mohammad Reza, who is eager to try to get his qualifying time underway. Hopefully he doesn't get blocked in traffic. In terms of French contenders, we're looking at maybe Aldo Santana to maybe check things out to be inside the top 3 or top 2. But in terms of taking the lead, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to do so. Daniel Goyano obviously also has some work to do. Obviously, he just needs to be at least inside the top ranges of the top 10, like 7-6, to at least have some mathematical contention. Obviously, Goyana can win this race, but obviously this would mean that Barger will need to finish 5th or lower, and obviously, for Barger to finish, let's say, 3rd or lower. For both Barger and Shaka Reza to finish 4th or lower for Daniel Goyana to win the Split B Championship. He represents Usada Pecora, and right now he is looking to try to do a lot for the No Usagi. Just wanted to shift over to the next drivers out there. Fawaz Mori, obviously representing Hoshino Wamuna. He's still a reserve driver. We're still trying to find full-time drivers for this seat. If you are interested in racing the Fawaz Mori's Hoshino Wamuna car, feel free to let us know. Looking at the Sean Pauly's season up to this point, it has been something of an up and down moment. He's had his highs, such as winning the Split A title in Hololive GT3 Japan, but obviously in the postseason he fell off in 2022, and in 2023 he is almost a non-factor. Much of that he's currently mid-table. So anyways, going for a lap here in Sepang, exiting turn 15, second gear, or rather third gear. Sean Pauly gets up to the gears into the main straight for him to start this lap here in Sepang. 1 kilometer long straight. Sean Pauly, being a mid-pack contender, really hopes to have a very good pace here. Brake at around 75-meter mark into turn 1. Hanging around the low gears at around second gear should be enough. Hanging in second gear, you don't really need to downshift down to first. Flat out turn 3. Past some of the billboards here, coming into the braking zone. You have the access road. You can use that as a reference to brake into turn 4. Hanging around in third gear, you don't want to watch out for your throttle inputs. You are very easy to spin out that car exiting turn 4. Turns 5 and 6. Oh, it really has to lift at the turn 6. You can really carry a lot of speed at 5. Brake just before the billboard here into turn 7 and 8, and he is being blocked by traffic as it stands. If I was Mori, I believe is in front. Turn 9. Oh, just after the access row, hanging around what should be in first gear, the only corner where you can really take this car in first gear. Into turns 10 and 11, and now you can see the effects of the block coming in. Bit unfortunate, but if you can clear under the back straight, it will be very nice for him. He'll have the extra choke. Turn 12, not much of a thing, just needs to lift. Turn 13 and 14 though, brake and turn at the same time. Oh, he could really lose a lot of time there. He's being blocked by Fawaz Mori. So we're gonna shift over to Sean Galail, who is really not far behind from Sean Pauly. So Sean Galail, hometown driver, representing Minato Aqua in that number 9 Toyota powered car. You can see here in the middle of the access where you can brake it over there to start your braking and your turning into turn 15. And that's a lap here in Sepang. Very good in turn 15, very important. And Sean Galail puts his car in second. And continuing on to the trend of the Reza brothers dominating here in Sepang, Shakib Reza is now setting a 1:43.555, a second of a lap faster than Sean Galail. Fastest EN class car of the field, Aaron Mazzi representing Iris. She just had her 3D showcase. Obviously showcasing her summer uniform with Hosho Marine, her summer swimwear. And she was also seen in bright uniform. So Aaron Mazzi took the time to get some practice laps, and right now he's doing pretty decently in the midfield. So Aaron Mazzi really wanting to get himself up to speed. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how he goes. So looking into more drivers setting their lap times, looking into Barger. Barger is actually down in 9th place. Not a good way to start his qualifying session. He hasn't been at the brightest since entering the Sepang Circuit. And right now, looking into the current permutations here, he is actually 7/10 down from 2nd place Jeff Clark, who is looking to have a pretty decent performance there. He did won the race at Sepang in Hololive GT3 last week, but obviously came up short to Vladislav Domashnev, who just had a better season overall. Just want to remind everyone that Maverick Ill has decided that he wants to change his license to Maverick Deuxième. And due to him changing his name and his racing license, his name has now changed to Maverick Ill, from Maverick Ill to Maverick Deuxième. And obviously, with this name change, he really is actually performing better than Kento Kai and the prospect of Thomas Snooks in this Shishiro Botan car. Really showing well in this car. Obviously, he did have a pretty decent race as well. He finished 3rd here in Sepang. And we're looking to see some pretty familiar faces there onto the top spots. Oh, we can see here some battles here, but obviously that's just another guy coming into the pits. That's Richie Rod. Vladislav Domashnev, Split B champion of Hololive GT3 in 2023, looks to at least have a pretty good result in this race. He hasn't been off the pace in a lot of these races. They're finishing outside of the top 10 multiple times. Looking into the top 10, it's currently being occupied by both, mainly JP class cars. The first EN class car, the first International Series cars are currently, Nasser Daham is currently in 12th place. Farah Kamal is the fastest ID class car, currently sitting in 15th. Halfway into this qualifying session, looking at the pace, Shashkev Reza has actually improved on his lap time, 1:42.986. So again, another good showing from the Malaysian brother, younger of Shazrin Reza. But obviously, this is like Shazrin Reza's Saturday qualifying performances. He started on pole, but of course, crashed out after some kind of issue with the car at the start, crashed on pole, and that just means that he just gets very unlucky. So obviously Shakir Reza is in a position where he can take the top spot of the Formula Hololive overall standings, and with that he should be able to get his way into the overall series champion if he can beat Daniel Barger and Daniel Goyena, who is currently on the lower end of the top 10. What about the rest of the field? Zach Champagne, he's also inside the top 10, and Alton Chanarao is in 13th place. So Shakir Reza already has the first aces out of anyone so far. Nice to see more viewers coming in. Welcome on board here in Sepang for the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race, and hopefully everyone's enjoying this qualifying session here. Remember, just wanted to remind everyone, the noses of the cars are painted black and white. This is to basically represent the members wearing the partial variants of their Bright Idol uniforms. You know, when they were wearing the Bright OBP t-shirts, the Our Bright Parade t-shirts into that Ford Festival? Yeah, we're doing the same thing here in Sepang, and we're closing out the split season with multi-class racing, 26 cars, a full grid. It's basically a full Formula 1 grid at this point, so nice to see. Now we are going to be trialing some new technologies in the next race weekend, and that will be next week. The Splash Party Kart X at Sugo. There will be 2 races. There will be the Daybreak race and the Nightfall race. In both of these races, we will be racing cross karts for basically a short sprint here, basically a short dash for all of these cars. We'll be streaming at maybe 2 p.m. Japan time. Hopefully everyone's here to tune into the next races next week. Oh, this is too early. We're too early to have a racer at the moment. Here we see Fawaz Mori battling between himself and Zach Champagne. Shakir Reza at this point is just logging in practice lap, and meanwhile Johansson for 1:44.681 that has been a pretty decent run, puts Barger and Champagne down a spot. And for Champagne, he is being dropped into 11th. Sean Gelael is currently inside the top 6. He's doing very well here in his home race. Not sure if I'm allowed to mention his place of origin, because right now he's got some pretty interesting stories that he might want to tell. Now, I really do wish that Sean Gelael is also in the commentary booth. You know, if he's ready to be in the commentary booth, he can just tell me if he's ready, because my throat have literally hurt commentating a 300-kilometer race last night, because holy damn, it has got to hurt. Looking into the field here, Nasser Daham have just set a faster time. He's now the fastest of the EN class cars and amongst the international series rides out there. Already just over a tenth of a second faster than Farah Kamal, who is down to 16th. At Scratch Dash, Sean Pauli improves. He's currently up into 13th with 144.09. That still means he's mid-table in terms of this race, and nearing at the back for the Formula Hololive Japan standards. It just hasn't gone to plan for Vladislav Damashnev. He has had an up and down season in Formula Hololive, but he has put a lot of eggs in the Hololive GT3. Meanwhile, Gelael has put himself into 4th place, and Richie Rod, surprise, he's currently put a pretty decent lap. He's now inside 10th. So anyways, Sean Gelael, Malacca-born race car driver. He is basically one of the big young prospects of this racing series here, one of the few young talents to come. He definitely has a lot to go in this season. Now obviously Sean Gelael have also not had the best of seasons up to this point. In particular, well, right now we want to pay attention to his advancements, but anyway, Sean Gelael currently barreling down this turn 7 and 8 section. Let's see if we can find some improvements. Looking into the order in this Formula Hololive standings, he is currently down in 15th spot. In terms of split B, he's down to 15th out of 17th. And actually, did I just jinx Vladislav Damashnev? I mentioned how he has not been performing well in Formula Hololive, and now he's up to 8th. Which also means that Champagne and Barger really need to do something if they want to get this championship on their hands. So anyways, back to Gelael. He is currently 30th overall and 15th in Split B. So obviously, Gelael needs to do something ASAP if he wants to salvage anything from this overall season. Because right now he's still kind of mathematically in contention for the overall title, but he just needs to sit himself down and try to get his way into some consistent results. And right now, the trends are pointing towards the right direction. He's currently qualified 4th, and Lorenzo Ricci, representing Hosha Marine, is currently up to 3rd. It's Shakif Reza's race to lose as we're about to end this qualifying session. He is currently on provisional pole. Oh, bit of contact between Shakif Reza and Lorenzo Ricci. Shakif Reza in the driver's seat to win the Split B title if he doesn't have any issues in this race. We just hope that there is not going to be any issues, unlike his brother. So anyways, some few drivers who are still barreling down the racetrack. Goyena is in 9th place for Sara Pecora. We have Shakir Reza, Goyena, Barger, Champagne, and Antanarao. These are your title contenders for the Split B Championship. Shakir Reza, if he stays this way, he will win Split B and the overall Split Championship. And with this qualifying session coming to an end, we're gonna see how the rest of the field goes, because we still have a few guys who have yet to finish their laps. In Formula Hololive, we have yet to have a home race winner outside of Japan. And as it stands right now, we are looking into probably our first home winner in Hololive GT3 Japan. Obviously, Shakib Reza is a Malaysian, and he is doing his absolute best to try to get something out of this. Barger hasn't been at his fastest. Let's see if he can find some improvements. Shakib Reza has crossed the line. Obviously, he just wants to do some practice laps in. For Daniel Barger, we're going to take a look into his lap. And he improves 144.578. So great stuff from him. We're looking into Daniel Goyena, one of the last championship contenders to cross the line. Goes up to 10th, but that's going to be pretty much it. So we're going to do some intermission here to transition over into the main race because we're looking into the last drivers who will be crossing the line. And it will be Vladislav Damashev, who is currently in 9th. We're not looking to see any improvements here. So just wanted to check here. Will there be any improvements from Damashev? No, it will be not. We're going to transition over into the starting lineup of this race. The Rezas have basically swept the pole positions here. Shakib Reza have gotten pole position in yesterday's Sepang Grand Prix Split A race for him Memorial Luna, and now it's going to be his younger brother Shakib Reza who is going to be the next Reza's sibling to take the top qualifying spot here in this track, Sepang International Circuit. Jeff Clark is alongside him in second place. He won here in Sepang last weekend in Hololive GT3. Can he make it a two-peat? Lorenzo Ricci in his very good qualifying session for Hosha Marine. He starts third in that number 6 car. Sean Goliath, that makes 2 Malaysians in the top 4. Sean Goliath representing Minagata Aqua. He will be here in 4th place. Maverick Dusiem will start 5th for Shishira Botan. Alex Grant in 6th place, make that Shishi Lamy in 3rd row. As Alex Grant represents Yukana Lamy in 6th place. Daniel Barger for Hoshimati Suisse will start 7th. And alongside Monica Shilage in the Murasaki Shion card, there are rumors that Shilage is giving the seat back to Kizuhara Leo because there might be a spot opening in Formula Hololive International. There may be a Kaela car coming up. Anyways, Shilage might want to have her final races for Shion with a bang. Vladislav Damashev starts 9th for Aki Rosenthal, and Danilo Goyena in car number 11, Sara Pecora, will start 10th. Johansen Full for Natsura Masaru will start 11th. Richie Roth for Shirikami Fubuki will start 12th. And then looking at the Zach Champagne, one of the stronger championship contenders, will start 13th for Amane Kanata. He'll have a lot of work to do. Zeke Wimberley, 14th place for Okami Mio. Well, let's see where he will place himself. After all this, Sean Paul is the guy who is in the last fringes of the points for the Japan classification. He starts 15th for Inagami Korone. Nasir Daham for Sarasvana, he will be the fastest in-series car and will start 16th in glass. Altasar and Tanaral 17th for Nekomata Okayu and also Lance Oryx in 18th place. Fastest ID class car and second in the International Series classification. They'll start 17th and 18th. Porter Daniel Bolatev hasn't been performing and he continues to not perform, unfortunately. He represents Tokoyami Toa and he starts 19th. Potifara Kamal have won the Connect the World Grand Prix overall and ID class. Let's see if she can try to at least have an ID class win from 20th. Anita Perez for Hakos Well starts 21st. Bonishikawa the 3rd for Orokoni. Aramazi starts 23rd for Iris. Brendan McConnelly 24th for Gaur and rounding out the 13th and final row, Fowles Morris starts alongside Muhammad Cashew, representing Hoshinawa Muna and Mori Calliope respectively. So we're just going to do some transitions here, where we just want to prepare ourselves for the race. If we want to hear my thoughts of this race so far, well, we haven't started the race yet. We're just hoping that Shakib doesn't mess up the start. So anyways, we're going to get to see the 26 cars in Split B take the green flag. Shakib Reza is on pole position. Jeff Clark alongside him. This is going to be an interesting end to the split season here as we're about to get this Sepang Grand Prix finally underway. And crucially, Shakib Reza doesn't do the same mistake as his brother, or rather doesn't have the same problems as his brother. He has a good launch into turn 1. That's everyone coming into the first set of corners. Looking at Jeff Clark, you can see here he has a battle with Lorenzo Ricci. There has been contact between the IMA and Marine cars, and that will mean that Ricci shoves himself into second place. Shakib Reza leads here in the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race. Ricci second, Clark third, Goliath fourth, and Barger with a storming start up to fifth. And Duciem's currently in 6th place. Damashev is currently trading blows with Alex Gren, who's now up to 7th. Damashev's now in 8th. Shalaki in 9th. And Silva running at the top 10. A frantic start of this season here. Yes, it has been pretty interesting here to see. Daniel Barker, of all people, jumping up a few positions here. He's not giving up on this championship hunt. Shakib Reza, though, still has a rocket ship of a car. He is going to pull away against Lorenzo Ricci, who have been battling against Jeff Clark. They're going to lose out to the race leader. Oh, Sean Pauly and Zach Champagne trading blows here. We don't want to mention here that Champagne is also Malaysian as well, so that's that. So anyways, the Ham currently in 14th place, best of the international cars, fastest in the EN Class 2. And as you can see here, the gap just keeps pulling away between Shakib Reza and Lorenzo Ricci. So looking into Jeff Clark here, he has already made a dive bomb down the inside against what should be Lorenzo Ricci. Lap 2 have just begun, and now we're looking into Jeff Clark tucking into the slipstream, the draft. There he's now side by side with the number 6 Ocean Marine car. Clark hangs it around. There has been contact between the two, but right now it's still pretty much okay between the two. But crucially, we see Lorenzo Ricci blocking Clark's advancements, and now we see more position changes between Bolatev and Mazzi, Farakawa and Perez. Bolatev wins his battle, Farakawa wins hers. But meanwhile, looking into Ishikawa the third and Brendan McCondley, they are literally tugging out. They're basically playing a game of tug of war, as Farakawa has to defend against Perez now. The current international battles just keep on coming. You can see here Farakawa hangs it around the inside of turn 5, but it's going to be the outside of turn 6. That's probably going to push Farakawa off wide, and this will allow Perez to steal position. Shakib Reza is running away with things as it stands right now. 6.6 seconds between himself and Ricci. Ricci just doesn't have that race pace. And Shakib Reza is literally storming himself into the deep lead into this race. The gap is now at 7 seconds. Let's take a look at the timetable here. He is definitely faster than both Ricci and Clark onto the first two sectors. So he is currently having a massive rocket ship of a car. And let's see if this will pay dividends for him. Coming into lap 3 here. Shakib Reza is about to cross the line. Meanwhile, Ricci and Clark are about to have this battle side by side once again. They're going to lose more time. 142.989 for Shakib. If you think he's already dominant in qualifying, this race just means that he has been pretty much crazy. And now you can see a side by side battle for second place and for fourth place. Ricci and Clark side by side. As you can see here, a tugging of war there between the two, and this will be to Jeff Clark's favor. He now gets up to second place. Goliath jumps up to fourth place after his intense battle with Duciem. Grant is looking to have a spot away from Barger, but meanwhile Barger just remains steadfast in his presence. It is clear we're going to have a pretty long race. 56 laps here in Sepang means 300 kilometers of action. But meanwhile, Duciem is getting pretty close there to Shakib Reza here. Ooh, you can see here, he has to actually defend against Daniel Barger there. He actually has his nose poked in to Duciem, and Daniel Barger is just not giving up in this championship battle. Meanwhile, let's take a look into the race field monitor to see who's going to pit first and who's going to pit later. If you want to know why Shakib Reza is being very, very rapid at the moment, look at Jeff Clark and Lorenzo Ricci's fuel. They're going to pit later than usual, but Shakib Reza is going to pit pretty early. He's going to pit at lap 14, so he's going to probably try an aggressive two-stop strategy. So he's pulling away from Clark, and he has a reason to do so. And he does so with another fastest lap. Duciem dives down the inside of Sean Goliath. Goliath is offensive. His attack is relentless as it stands. New driver for Shishiro Botan replacing Kento Kai. He still hangs around the outside, but Goliath is going to try his best to defend. Coming into turn 2. Oh, some contact. But Goliath manages to defend. That will allow Daniel Barger to actually catch back up to Duciem. And actually, scratch that, there's going to be another driver into the mix. Look at Alex Grant diving down the inside of Barger. He wants to try to get himself back into his teammate, the Shishiro Botan number 43 car. Remember, the Shishiro Botan Yukanalami cars aren't just Gen 5 mates. They are basically soulmates, at least as far as the Oshis go. At least as far as their Oshis would go. So anyways, looking into this battle, have simmered down. Barger still hangs on to 6th place. Shakib Reza is still pulling away. The gap between Clark and Ricci are now 2 seconds. Shakib Reza to Clark now 12 seconds and widening. Unfortunately, we didn't have the start pile up here in this Formula Hololive race compared to Super Formula at Motegi. Thankfully, all the drivers are okay, and that Motegi race in Super Formula. Obviously, we're racing outdated versions of their Super Formula cars, but that's the only mod available, so that's that. Anyways, you can look into the details in the description on who makes these mods. RaceSimStudio does a very good job in trying to make this mod. But meanwhile, Duciem trying to find a way against Sean Goliath on the outside, switches into the inside line to try to dive on down the inside, but the outside line has been pretty good in terms of defense. That is, if you can hang it around the outside, if you have enough grip into that first turn, and you can just try to block in the second corner, you just might have a chance. But for now, it's Duciem that has this grip advantage, and that will put Goliath down to 5th. And actually, is Barger close enough for dive bomb? Can't tell. Meanwhile, Antanaro and Ross switch places, as does Mazzi and Perez here. Both of them are still side by side as far as Anita Perez and Aramazzi go. Ooh, really going off the grass there. Anita Perez. I have a good outside line re-overtake for 20th place for Anita. This is going to be pretty interesting to see how these drivers are going for their strategies here. We are seeing again here in Sepang variety in strategies. Some are going for the undercut, some are going for the overcut. Wimberley and Champagne trade places. Wimberley is now up to 15th place. Wakimio, of course, have just recently hosted her summer live. We obviously enjoyed the live performance. We enjoyed the songs. We enjoyed the games that they played. Funny how they're playing their version of Snakes and Ladders there. And obviously they need to do something and they land onto the specific tile. So anyways, back into the racing scene, Zeke Wembley currently racing for Okami after he replaces Andrew Rahimba, who has withdrawn from the series. Meanwhile, he has to fend off a challenge between Zach Champagne. Wimberley is able to put his defensive skills to use, but Champagne is going to try to hang around the outside, but usually it's the outside line that performs very well there in this section of corners into turns 1 and 2. Wimberley still has the inside line. We're going to switch to the outside line where you don't need to handle some nasty curbs. Oh, there has been contact between Wimberley and Champagne, and Wimberley manages to defend. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up here. You really don't want to clip the inside curb too heavily into turn 12, otherwise you're going to be having a hard time. Meanwhile, Richie Raw has to fend off a battle against Anita Perez. Perez is hot on the heels into the higher placing positions. Obviously, we're seeing a good amount of international series entrants here. We're looking at 9 of them in total. Alex Grant for Yukihana Lamy, and looks like he has something to share to Barger. That something to share is basically an overtake. But let's see if he can get close enough. No is the answer for now, and you can see here. Just wanted to show you everyone of the scenery here in Sepang. Quite picturesque here to see 26 cars roaring to the racetrack. And obviously we have the Splash Party Live coming up next week. We have mentioned it to you earlier in the stream. We will be having a stream to coincide with the live performances that will be coming in next week. And that will be the Splash Party Kart X at Sugo. We have sorted out the mod issues, and with the change we are hopeful that we are able to host races safely at Sugo. No pit lane issues here. Zach Champagne side by side with Zeke Wimberly here. They're going for a round 2. Champagne tries to hang around the inside, but it's not the ideal line. Wimberly manages to defend, but now he might just be under pressure for Althusser and Tanarao. Just wanted to check it out. Well then, we are looking into some of the games listed, and you want to know why we are seeing F1 2020 as a detected game. Well, these Super Formula cars look exactly like those F1 cars, and Sepang has been a former F1 track, so we have been seeing the algorithm mistakenly detect some games. We have seen Hololive GT3 streams being detected as a set of Corsa Competizione one time, and some of these being R Factor. So this is really nothing new for us. Anyways, oh, we're seeing someone about to get close here. Now Zach Champagne is about to try to lock horns again with Zeke Wimberly. Wimberly is currently being a sitting duck. No pun intended, because Rimolgo isn't even racing tonight. He has already raced last night. But meanwhile, you can see here, exiting turn 15, Zeke Wimberly just has the slightly better exit. But obviously, Wimberly is in a position for some very decent defense. Oh, we can see here, Goliath defense against Barger. And Ricci against Dusiem. Coming into turn 3, Dusiem is going to try to force his way into 3rd place. And Wimberly manages to defend against Champagne. Perez manages to overtake Antanarao. Looking into Lorenzo Ricci's place right now, he's currently being under pressure here from Dusiem. Clark is currently running a lonely race in 2nd. Chacareza as well, but he has a 22-second lead to consolidate. And we've seen this before with Jeremy Assam. Go for a 2-stop strategy, but you gotta need to pull off from the rest of the field in order for you to have a successful 2-stop. Oh, you can see here Goliles is looking to be under pressure from Daniel Barger in that 5th place. Dusiem looking to pounce on his prey against Lorenzo Ricci in 3rd. And now looking at Dusiem, he has the sweet slipstream for him to use to try to get close to Ricci. Will he have a dive bomb down the inside of turn 15? He lines up for a move. He pounces. But he's gotta need to pick his lines correctly. He gotta be on the inside of turn 1 so he becomes the outside of turn 2. But let's see where he goes. He is, I think, still side by side. It's not going to work out for Dusiem if he wants to have a shot of attacking Ricci. Ricci, I think, has this move in the bag, but I think they are making contact. Ricci makes contact with Dusiem. I think Ricci just understeers at Dusiem, or that Dusiem closed the door on Ricci too much. It's currently labeling this off as a racing incident. Shalaga and Grant, there has been a battle here. Shalaga is now up to 7th place. And as you can see here, Shakib Reza as it stands, if he continues to lead like this and win this race, he will gain both the Split B and overall Split Championship. Callum Gibbons has done everything he needed to do, but right now it all comes down to what Shakib Reza can do. Starting lap 10 here, we're gonna go 9 laps complete here in the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race. Hopefully we'll like to hear more comments as we go in the chat room. 142.629 for Shakib Reza. He's currently unstoppable. He has gone 2 wins in a row in Split B. Will he have his 3rd in a row, capping off what should be an amazing season? We'll have to wait and see. And now looking into the situation in the top 4 is now calmed down. But for the top 5, it's not really over just yet. Goliath against Barger, who wants to try to have a crack at it at the lead of this race for him to have a shot of winning the Split B Championship. Meanwhile, we are looking into side-by-side between Champagne and Tanaram Perez, because Danita Perez is actually the first driver to come into the pits. She's going to try a double 2-stop strategy. Just wanted to check on Perez's basically fuel loads. Yes, she does. She's gonna go for a 2-stop here. She's gonna do a very rapid 2nd stint before she's gonna settle in this race in her 3rd stint. I just wanted to confirm back as well, Muhammad Cashew have also pitted as well. As you can see why the gaps have opened up. Sorry for not noticing it earlier. But meanwhile, Cashew might just have to pit again because he's currently very low in terms of fuel. Paulie and Goyena side by side is Pekora versus Coroner. Paulie makes a late dive, but he's not close enough to Goyena, and that will mean Goyena will be in 11th. Looking at Shakib Reza into turn 1. Goliath just needs to hang on this top 5. He hasn't scored a top 5 in his Formula Hololive career just yet. But let's just hope he is able to pull off something amazing in this race. A top 5 should be okay, but let's not count out maybe a 3rd place. In terms of drivers in it to win the Split B Championship, it's between Barger and Shakib Reza. Both Shakib Reza and Darren Barger are in a position where they're able to overtake Callum Gibbons in the Split A title race, in the overall title race. Gibbons needed to have done everything he needed to do. Now it all comes down to Split B, and right now, Shakib Reza is in the driver's seat again. Meanwhile, there's another side-by-side battle between Champagne and Wimberley, but Wimberley has that crucial outside line, but I think there's a bit of contact. But I think Wimberley just manages to hang around. Oh, you can see here, Champagne got a bit unsettled there into turn 2. And now, Wimberley's up to 15th. Goliath is actually doing his absolute best to hold up the rest of the field. He did qualify pretty well here into the top 5, but he has some pretty good defense. But because he is not space is not up to speed with the guys in front of him, he basically holds up the drivers at the back while also providing some very good defense. So anyways, you might want to call Sean Goliath the Malaysian Yarnu Trilling in this race, and Shakib Reza just keeps on piling in fast laps after fast lap. 142.482 for him. But let's look into his pit stop. He's running very light right now. He'll have to pit in the next 2 laps. And analysts are reckoning that Shakib Reza will be pitting in the next 2 laps. And looking into Shalage and Grant, good eye for some of the viewers here, because right now we're looking at Alex Grant and Monica Shalage trying to pounce an opportunity against Daniel Barger, who is currently in 6th place, representing the diamond in the rough that is Hoshimachi Shuisei. Well, if you want to talk about Hoshimachi Suisei, she's actually more refined than she has ever been. But is she fully refined? That is up for debate. But right now, Suisei is showing to be a very talented member in Hololive, one of the best in the field, and she's often seen in bright uniforms. And at this point, Suisei is just abandoning her original origin idol uniforms and just going broke on this bright uniform, of course, because of relevancy. But meanwhile, we're looking at Champagne and Wimberley. Again, side by side, but this time Champagne have the outside line, and he finally manages to overtake Wimberley, but he'll have to do something if he wants to catch up to Lance Orris in 14th. Shakib Reza is Max Verstappen. You can't tell that he is Max Verstappen because he's currently on the two-stop strategy. He's different. He's performing probably different strategy, and right now he is not pitting this lap, but he's going to pit the next lap. So yeah, a lot of drivers are actually opting to do a one-stop. We got some drivers who are going to go a bit crazy here. Perez and Cashew with a two-stop strategy. Shakib Reza is about to commit his first of two stops coming soon. So anyways, looking into some of the other potential battles here, 34 seconds ahead of Clark, so he really is showing off his amazing colors. But if he pits now, he'll have a lot of risk when it comes to traffic, because you can see here, if he exits the pit lane as it stands, he's gonna be in between the top 10. Jeff Clark literally being 3 seconds slower. Everyone is being 3 seconds slower to Shakib Reza. Shakib Reza is showing to be one of the best drivers in Formula Hololive. I mean, in Hololive GT3, he's doing everything he could. He's doing everything he can in his power. But obviously, this also means that he's currently very much bottom of the table and outside the top 30 at this rate. But inside Formula Hololive, he's just a completely different beast. Daniel Barger is just settling in with 6th place here after an attempt to pass Golal have come to nearly nothing, but now he has to do a bit of defending because Shilage is gonna go at it into turn 4. But Barger, having a decent outside line with all the momentum he has, manages to hang on to 6th place, coming into turn 5 and 6. As attack. That's what they're telling Daniel Barger, but obviously he can't attack all the time because he has to think about strategy. Looking at Daniel Barger, he's going to go pretty long. He will not pit until the next 26 laps. So he's going to go for the overcut strategy. Stay off for as long as you can and pit very late into this race. And that way you can play the position game and have fresh tires coming into the final stage of this race. Champagne and Wimberley now battling side by side once again. And as you can see here, Champagne and Wimberley. Oh dear. Shakib Reza coming into pit right now, and he has already pitted, and there's a pretty quick pit stop here. So Shakib Reza have just pitted at this race, and he's only like 5 seconds ahead of Jeff Clark, and because he has actually fueled in for a much shorter duration than expected, and as you can see here, he is going for the 2-stop, but he's gonna be pitting for a second time in literally between the middle of this race. So right now, Shakib Reza still has this race covered, but will he have the pace he had in his first stint? We'll have to wait and see. Sean Golisle is currently hanging on to 5th place for dear life as Barger is now closing back into Golisle, the young Malaysian, currently in 5th place. Oh, you can see here, Johan Sinful is looking for a shot against Alex Grant in 8th place for Yuki Hanalami. Johan Sinful represents Natsuri Ramatsuri, so that's one thing. So anyways, Sinful is on the attack, but right now Alex Grant is keeping tabs onto his mirrors. So yeah. So anyways, once we're going to start lap 15, we're going to go for a short break and to understand the current advances of this race. And looking into the current situation here in the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race, Shakib Reza still has this race under control and basically quite in a pretty dominant fashion. Jeff Clark's in second. Daniel Barger, another one of his title contenders, in sixth. Let's see what he can do come the next few laps. Back here in Sepang, and you can see here Guyana has made an outside pass onto the Masham. They were side by side coming into turns 1 and 2. And you can see here Guyana have now consolidated 10th place. And right now, looking into the current situations here, Guyana is still somewhat in contention, but right now he's still not going to be winning the Split B championship. Shakir Reza is showing some pace as he did before, but crucially, looking into his sector times, he is only faster in the first sector, and actually still a tenth faster in the second sector. So Shakir Reza still has a lot of pace in him to try to build up a gap before it has to be the second time. And looking into the race field monitor, some guys are actually running pretty low here. In particular, Lance Oryx. He's going to be the next driver that will be coming into this pit stop cycle. It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. You can see here Shakir Reza have now crossed the line. He's already built up a gap to Jeff Clark. Even then, he's just set a personal best of 144.919. I'm not talking about Porsches here. We're talking about Honda and Toyota power engines here in the Formula Hololive Japan section. So anyways, looking into Shalage, who is trying to find a way past Barger. The gap has now opened up to 3.6 of a second. But right now he's not close enough. She's not close enough for the move against Barger. Oh, down the inside of Barger, but Barger. Oh, there was contact between the two. You see there from Grant's onboard, and now Shalage has an ace against the Israeli driver. Daniel Barger's race is kind of slipping away, but he has to remember he's currently committing himself to an overcut strategy. So he doesn't really need to think about guys who are battling him. He just needs to think about consistency in his lap time. And right now he's being as consistent as he can be. The Split A race has got everything. Shazan Reza looking to win the Split A championship. Having his race come undone literally at the start. But meanwhile, we have Champagne and Oryx side by side coming into turn 9. They were side by side in 7 and 8. And as you can see here, they're still side by side. Will there be contact? Will there be any collisions? Maybe. I think it's a bit close. But as you can see here, Oryx and Champagne. Oh, and Tannerall gets pretty close. Actually, Wimberley is getting pretty close to the boundaries of turn 11. You can see here, turn 11 is a killer for a lot of these cars. You'll break at turn 11 at that, and you're going to be going wide. And chances are you're going to beat yourself, and you're going to DNF from this race. Wimberley goes way too wide, and now Daniel Bolata is looking for an opportunity. Bolata on this main straight. Will he make a move down the inside of his fellow Hololive member, fellow racer Zeke Wimberley here? Bolata comes down to the inside. You don't see that every day from the Kazakh driver. And as you can see here, more side-by-side battles coming in between, in particular, no one else. But looking at Wimberley and Bolatev, there are still side-by-side coming into turn 1. Ooh, Bolatev tries to hang it around, but will he hijack the inside line at turn 2? Bolatev just wasn't able to capitalize on this opportunity for him to steal a position from Wimberley. Oryx is getting pretty close to his pit window, and right now he's looking to attack. Being Anya's lone soldier and all, he has won the 22-23 Hololive GT3 International Series Indonesia class title. capping off what has been an amazing season. But then again, he had a shot of winning the split, the overall title, but it didn't come to be. But you can see here, Champagne and Oryx there went side by side. You can see here Champagne going very deep into turn 7 and 8, but Oryx just manages to hang it around with his position, and he manages to defend against Champagne. The gap between Shakir Reza and Jeff Clark at the moment. Shakir Reza is going to need to pit again. Jeff Clark just needs to pit once. The gap have now opened up to 11 seconds. It's not as dominant as his first stint. This is what some are fearing right now. And right now, Barger is just calm at the moment. He just needs to complete these next few laps. He is going to be pitting on lap 40 for his first and only stop. More battles coming in. Look at Althusser and Tannerell. Actually, scratch that. It's Wembley and Bolatev. This time Wembley manages to defend 17th place. Meanwhile, Galal and Shalage. It's the Akushio cars. Oh, you can see here contact between the Akushio cars, and it will go down in Galal's favor as he manages to defend 5th place. But for how much longer he can defend, Shalage comes down the inside. Will there be contact? There is none, but you can see here Galal goes really wide at turn 5, and as you can see here, Galal tries to squeeze Shalage at turn 6, and coming into turn 7 and 8, Galal might just have the slight advantage, but can Shalage hang around the outside for 7 and 8, and that would mean that Galal compromises his entry to turn 9, but he just manages to hang on. It's the Akushio battle here in Sepang, in the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race in Formula Hololive, and it now goes down to, again, Galal's favor, but now Barger's looking to get into the mix. A lot of battles here in Sepang. We didn't lie when we said that Split B is going to have a lot of action if there's anything to go by in the Split A race. And right now, it's definitely gone down as a very amazing race here at the moment. Shakir Reza hasn't been gaining a lot of lap time to Jeff Clark as of late. And that's going to cause a lot of eyebrows to raise because... Holy macaroni, because right now Shakir Reza is trying to consolidate as much of a gap as possible here. He's now 13 seconds up to Jeff Clark. He'll need to pit again on lap 26. Oh, there's another battle here between some of the drivers here, but actually scratch that. It's just Lance Oryx pitting. We didn't mention that Oryx might be the next, going to be the next driver to pit. There is our answer. Anita Perez also coming into pit as well, but she's now down in 25th place. It's going to be a pretty long pit stop. But for Mohamed Cashew, he's set for the entire race, and for Perez, she's also going to be set for the entire race as well. Jeff Clark is currently being called to make his basically make his first and only pit stop. And as you can see here, some of these drivers are actually taking a very short while to pit, and that in particular we saw Lance Oryx. But Lance Oryx is actually good enough to hang it around for the rest of this race, so good stuff from him. More drivers being called into the pits. Shalage, Clark, and Sean Pauly. 3 drivers are going to be active in this pit window. Pit entry, some of these pit entries can be pretty weird, and it has resulted in collisions for some of these drivers because we see that they are going to go deep on the inside line for the entry into the pit lane and then go immediately wide after. So if there's going to be a side-by-side battle, it's going to be pretty awkward because there might be some contact. We've seen that with Skyji Mikolev and Shazan Reza last race, and as you can see here, oh yeah, we do want to point out that the entry is a bit bumpy. We do notice on the current situations here as to why some people are looking a bit concerned. But meanwhile, looking into the rest of the drivers here, yeah, we're looking at 3 drivers coming into pit: Clark, Shalage, and Pauly. It's just that it's very bumpy onto the entry into the pit lane, so that's why you see some of these drivers actually just jumping, or it could be just it could just be a track mod issue. But then again, it's pretty minor unless you completely yeet yourself into that corner. which I don't think it would be likely. But anyways, we are looking into lap 20 and looking into the current situations here. Paulie is still stationary to the pit. They are filling their cars to the brim. They are going to pit until the end. They're going to have their second stint last until the end of this race. But as for another one of the contenders here, Jeff Clark, he has only Bon Ishikawa ahead of him, and he has a healthy 2.6 second gap. So he might just be able to get close to Shakib Reza when it comes to the gaps to the leader. Looking at gaps to the leader, the gap is only 1 minute and 13 seconds. Shakib Reza will have to pit again, and his next pit stop is going to take longer than usual. So looking into current situations here, the gaps between the leader and Duciem, currently 23 seconds, but meanwhile Goliath is continuing to reprise his role as the trolley train for this race. Goliath currently hanging on to a provisional 4th place. He'll have to pit again soon. And as you can see here, you can see here Bogger really trying to look for a spot inside, and you can see here more drivers coming into the pit. One of the drivers is Zach Champagne. Just wanted to show you all the ratio monitor. Zach Champagne is going to be the sole driver to pit on lap 21. But meanwhile, looking into some of the current developing situations here, who is going to be pitting next? Let's take a look into the race field monitor to see who. Shakib Reza is going to be pitting in probably the next 3 to 5 laps. We're going to have to watch him in full detail, and especially on where he will exit relative to Jeff Clark. Jeff Clark is really coming closer to Ishikawa the third, and if Clark wants to have a shot of actually consolidating this race lead, he's gonna need to have a lot of things go his way. And right now, we also want to pay attention to Daniel Barger and Shakib Reza. Barger's currently in 5th place, and okay, let's just talk about this anyway. Even though Daniel Barger hasn't pitted yet, he's currently in a position to win the Split Lead Championship and overall championship, and Split Lead Championship and overall Split Championship. Zeke Wimberly is currently being called into the pit lane. Let's see, and you can see here at the same time he's currently having a battle against Bolatev. Bolatev tries to attack down the inside of the turn 9, but Wimberly just manages to defend. Brandon McConnell is also being called into the pits as well. Let's see what I mean about the bumpiness coming into the entry into the pit lane. And as you can see here, Wimberly saw Antanarao go off wide, and now Wimberly is gonna take up the chance. Well, yeah, you can see here some line changes here. If Wimberly can just hang around the outside and not make a move down the inside, he's probably okay to come into the pits. But he's dive down the inside. Oh, it's a close call. Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, there is a bump at the entry at around the apex bollard. There is a bit of a bump there. That's why you see some of the drivers just come airborne. And meanwhile, we also have a confirmation that Brendan McConnelly is coming into the pits. Get off Clark. Wow. You don't really need to do him injustice. I mean, he is currently in contention to win this race. And looking at Shakib Reza, he needs to pit again. He's already pitted on lap 13. And now looking into the pit window, he might just need to pit in the next 2 to 4 laps. It's gonna be pretty close here. But meanwhile, looking at Maverick Duciem, he's also being called into the pits as well. You can see here there's a side-by-side battle. At the front here, Farah Kamal and Aaron Mazzi. You can see here, Farah Kamal just went, I think, around the outside of Mazzi and manages to hang on to her position after making that overtake back. And now, looking into Zeke Wimberly, he exits behind Champagne. So the undercut strategy has been working pretty decently. Champagne pitted on lap 21. Wimberly pitted 2 laps later. And now Wimberly has to be stuck behind the PP Tenshi car. Maverick Duciem confirmed to go into the pit lane. Shakib Reza is still leading this race, but no call for him just yet. Fawaz Mori is about to have his car serviced because he's currently being called to have his car come to the pit lane to have a fresh set of tires and a bit of a refill. Obviously, these Formula Hololive International cars are modified Formula 2 cars where they are now able to basically refuel because these cars aren't made for 300-kilometer races in real life. Maverick DCM is a podium contender. And looking at Fox Mori, let's go about a bit of on board to see what we mean by that. You can see here, bump. That's why. So anyways, looking into DCM, he has exited in 11th place, doing very well, especially against Jeff Clark here. So the overcut strategy might just be the play of the game. We have mentioned about this before. I can't remember where Fabio Mendes' pit lap was when he was racing last night. But now, looking into the gaps here, Shakir Reza can have a pretty good once-over here. Shakir Reza should be able to exit very comfortably. Richie was 4th before the pit stops came, and now he's 2nd. The gap between himself and Shakir Reza, 46 seconds. That's just very crazy. We talked about dominant races before by Callum Gibbons in Hololive GT3, but in Formula Hololive, it's a different story here. Ooh. Yeah, the bump is going to be something like the drivers need to watch out for. Meanwhile, Daniel Bolata is about to be called into the pits. He is about to have his car serviced. Meanwhile, there has been a battle between Clark and Ishikawa the third. Clark needs to get going if he wants to have a shot on winning the Split B Championship. And Tanara and Daham going side by side. Meanwhile, DCM is currently going side by side with Bolata. It's not going to end well. It's going to end in tears at this rate. There's contact because there's now conflicting orders. Oh, and you can see here DCM has made a lot of contact with Bolata. This is what I mean by awkward collisions when it comes to some guy entering the pit on the inside line and someone who's not going to pit on the outside line. But meanwhile, DCM still manages to continue in this race, still has a lifeline. Clark, meanwhile, is charging against the ID in EN class drivers. But look at Ishikawa the third, trying to make a move against Clark on the inside of turn 1. Hanging around goes Jeff Clark and diving down, almost blocking. Still getting close, but he has the slipstream advantage, so Clark might just be able to hit him back in turn 4. Oh dear, the answer is no, because Ishikawa the third is really giving him a run for his money when it comes to defense. We've seen dominant performances before, as we mentioned. Callum Gibbons in Hololive GT3 winning by nearly 50 seconds. But in Formula Hololive is a completely different game. But remember, Shakir Reza has yet to pit, and right now Shakir Reza is not being called into the pit lane just yet. He's trying to attack as much as he can. If you want to know on who's the first driver after the pit stops, is Maverick DCM, and looking into the gap between DCM and Shakir Reza. 1 minute and 20 seconds, and even then it will only turn into a 40-second gap between himself and everyone else. You can see here Jacinful finally coming into the pits. Daniel Barger just needs to hang on in this race, just needs to make sure Shakib is still stuck in traffic. If he can let Shakir Reza be stuck in traffic and waste tires in the process, Barger just might have a fringe chance to win the Split B Championship. Simple just exits his pit box. His time in the pits concluded. Will Shakir Reza coming into the pits? The answer is no, not yet. Jan Sinful exiting the pit lane, and right now just being very cautious on his tires. Is not warmed up just as well. Golal is on that 1 star. If you haven't seen the race field monitor, Sean Golal is going pretty long here. He's gonna pit at roughly the same time as Barger. So you can see here, start end, maybe. I wish I could say start end, but Bolatev have already pitted, so really can't say that. So looking into Shakir Reza right now, the pit stop, the situation here, as you can see, Sinful is about to be overtaken by Shakir Reza here, because you can see here Shakir Reza really attacking the current drivers here. And you can see here, oh, there was contact between Sinful and Shakib Reza. I think Sinful have misjudged the braking point, really causing a bit of scares for the leader. But fortunately, Shakib Reza is able to continue. Hopefully there's not too much damage on his car. You can see here some tire wear onto the right side of the car. You can see here there's a lot of fast right-hand corners. Clark and Mazzy going side by side, but that's just Jeff Clark being faster than anyone. Jeff Clark just really needs to hang around. Jeff Clark have yet to be a lap here, but Shakib Reza is here. And now Shakib Reza is finally coming into the pits. Just want to go a bit of intermission here before we are going to continue in this race, or rather we're just going to take a short break to see how situations are developing. We're going to return on the next few laps once Richie crosses the line to see current advancements in this race. It's a Sepang Grand Prix Split B race. The Split B title decider, but then decide the Split title, the Split B and overall Split title in this race. Back here in Sepang, Shakib Reza have just finished his pit stop. Shakib Reza is quite far away from Lorenzo Ricci, who have yet to pit, but Lorenzo Ricci might cause a bit of scares against Shakib Reza, and there he is. Ricci just manages to exit ahead of Shakib. And looking into the pit stop cycles, he is confirmed to run the entire race, but for everyone else here, this might be a death knell to anyone in this championship battle. So Shakib Reza currently very dominant here. Can he continue his amazing performance up to this point? Alex Rand also confirmed the pit. UCM going side by side with Richie Rod here. It's two cars going tandem side by side. Richie Rod has elected to go into the grass in braking, but meanwhile you can see here a battle between DuCM and Rod here, but you can see here DuCM manages to defend his place in place in 9th place, and you can see here Farah Kamal have just pitted. Just want to get a look here. Farah Kamal, no, she has yet to pit. And looking into Jeff Clark, he has now cleared a few more drivers. But in terms of the pit stop strategy, Shakib Reza has now been declared a clear winner. Jack Clark might have gone a bit way too early on that one-stop strategy, so that may not be very good. Looking at Lorenzo Ricci, let's see how much he can do to at least hold off Shakib Reza. He has about 9 laps maximum to do so. Richie Rod getting closer to DuCM again, but DuCM manages to defend. Rod has the faster car as it stands. You can see here Goliath literally being a truly trained to everyone here. Barger does not want this from his own start and teammate because he has a championship to win. And right now, they're looking at what should be Goliath basically blocking Barger, and that's not going to do any favors because Barger just wants to hang it around as much as possible. Shakib Reza and Daniel Barger are basically separated by about 12 seconds, and that is partially because of Goliath not cooperating much. And here's the thing, Shakib Reza has already completed his pit stop. Barger still needs to complete his first and only, and this almost seals the deal when it comes to the Split B championship battle. Daham currently in 8th place, and just wanted to take a look at the pit stops sequence here. Few drivers have yet to pit. Farah Kamal, Mazi, and Ishikawa the third. And looking at Ricci, Goliath, Barker, Goyen, Damasha, you can see here Daham and Duciem battling side by side. Now Duciem clears the Jordanian driver, but he's not going to take it lying down. Coming into turn 9. Not close enough in braking. And now Daham is the next driver to be under pressure from Ricci Rod. Shaka Reza looks to be doing both, as now he's looking to be side by side against Lorenzo Ricci. And now, if there is any more doubt on who's going to be winning the Split B Championship, it's going to be Shakib Reza. He has been showing a bit of a dominant run so far, but right now nothing seems to be stopping him. And Tannerod coming into pit. We haven't been seeing this much of a complete Callum Gibbons, but we'll have to wait and see. Cashew is currently nearing, basically at risk of being lapped. And as you can see here, oh, track limits is gonna be a massive contention here because Shaka Reza is currently skirting with track limits as much as he did, but obviously because everyone just keeps their two wheels onto the track, I think it's still okay because you are considered to be off limits if you have put all four wheels off the track. And right now, it's not really the case for some of these drivers. And looking at Shakib Reza, he's actually getting pretty closer to Muhammad Cashew. That Cashew just might be a saving grace, but Shakib Reza is just so fast. The gaps are at the moment, you can see here Lorenzo Ricci finally coming into pit. I don't think there's going to be anyone who's going to be remotely able to challenge Shakib Reza. Meanwhile, Daham has been overtaking Alex Grant, and he did so with pretty decent success. Daham, remember, has yet to pit. Alex Grant, I believe, has already pitted, so Daham is giving him a good amount of headaches. And you can see here he's being blocked a bit there by Nasser Daham. There, Alex Grant. Jeff Clark gonna try to steal an opportunity against Alex Grant. Ricci and Guyana coming into pit. Shaka Reza is going to be clear until the end of this race. And looking into the current situation here, no, we are not going to be penalizing drivers for track limits. You can see here everyone just dipping their outside tires into turn 1. They're still in track limits because, let's be fair, when you go to the garage, you get slowed down. And they are only having 2 wheels off, not all 4 wheels off, so we're still pretty good. Looking into the current situation here, Barger is now up to 3rd place. And as it stands, Shaka Reza will still be the 23 Split B champion of Formula Hololive Japan. And looking at Jeff Clark, really getting very close there to Daham. Daham has been overtaken by Alex Grant. Will actually Jeff Clark be able to do a double? Not really. But looking into Jeff Clark, he has at least cleared Nasir Daham, but he still has to pass some of the other drivers in front, like Jeff Clark, Alex Grant, Danilo Goyana. Goyana has already pitted, by the way, and Ricci as well. So they're doing very well to hang on to their position. Last lap for Shaka Reza, 144. Everyone else is lapping at a 146. It's going to be a bit of a thing because how is one driver able to be this fast? Some guys are actually asking for an investigation if there is an illegal car, but we do check the ballast levels and it is legal. 60 kilograms for Shakib Reza as well as everyone else. But meanwhile, there's still battles, in particular Oryx versus Mazzy in his favor. Richie Rock finally coming into pit. You can see here Cashew is around turn 11. Shaka Reza is actually not far behind. If Cashew is able to hold off Shakib Reza, there's no blue flag rules in the Assetto Corsa. at least it's not really in practice, then Barger just might have a shot. Even if he has to pit again, he might just have a shot in actually taking up an attacking chance against Shakif. Four wheels off, but even then, if you want to look into the 4 wheels off in terms of track limits here, if you are confirmed to not gain an advantage in terms of like cutting corners and all that stuff, that means you're still okay. But if you are known to gain some advantage, then there must be an investigation. And looking at Shakif Reza, he's about to be blocked by Muhammad Cashew. I think Cashew is already off the pace by leading standards. You can see here Shakif Reza trying to get close to Cashew, but will he be blocked just a bit? Oh, I think the answer might just be yes, but he might sniff an opportunity against Cashew, and right now that might play the advantage for some, but unfortunately, Shakif Reza has some easy clearing against the Maldivian driver. Just wanted to check on the current situation here. Shakif Reza is currently in this lead, currently almost unstoppable at this rate. Only a mechanical failure or something like that is going to cost him this race. Farah Kamla coming into pit. Let's just hope that nothing ever happens to Shakif Reza, because we've already seen one Reza sibling lost out in a title fight because of a freak start, if you want to call him that. But for Shakif Reza, he just needs to get his car in position. That's all he needs to do. Oh, Sean Galail is only in second place, but hope is not lost on Sean Galail. If things go his way, he might just be in this race lead. He's in the same strategy as Daniel Barger, crucially, and actually scratch that, both of them are coming into the pits. So both of these drivers coming into pit at the same time. Talk about Akusui. So we have Lisa Damashev currently in second place, but that's probably as high as he could go. He hasn't yet to pit. Shakif Reza has already pitted. Lorenzo Ricci is already crossing through the start-finish line. Will Galail and Barger finally come out? Yes, they do, but it'll be too late because Ricci is already well on his way. And now, in a crucial string of events, Daniel Barger has actually edged ahead of Sean Galail in terms of pit movement. The amazing stuff from Daniel Barger. Sean Galail has not got to be kicking his son, as now he's also going to be overtaken by Danilo Goyena. Oh, the Akusui gets broken up by a Wild and Rope Ekora in the middle. Danilo Goyena is now splitting the Akusui combo. But now with Barger having fresh tires, he might just have some fringe chances on trying to close back onto Shakif Reza. Oh, you can see here the battle between Shalage and Fawaz Mori. 8 versus 69. It's the Xion car who has the advantage coming into turn 3, but I think she's had some issues into in the middle of the corner here, but now Fawaz Mori might think of a move down the inside. The answer is gonna be no. Oh, just testing the Japanese keyboard there. But right now, Shakif Reza in control of this race. Still a very good car, but right now, some people are actually wondering if this engine is going to last. Obviously, with a lot of power, and obviously with him being okay with the rules. You think that there's gonna be problems? That's gonna be the cause of concern for some people, some guys involved, because some guys are gonna be taking a look at Shakif Reza's engine issue, and right now, Just wanted to check on the current situation here because people are going to be pretty concerned on the current car if it can hang on for the entire race. Shakir is currently in turns 11 and 12, and you can see more battles here between McConley and Mazzy, Shalage and Ishikawa the third. There's a lot of cars between McConley and the rest of the field. Talk about massive chaos here. And now Ishikawa tries to defend against Monica Shalage, Mori against Rod, and again Bolatev and Perez. 3 side-by-side battles in one section of racetrack. And now we're just gonna need to go a bit of a intermission here just to rest the throat a bit. We're going on lap 34. Oh, we're gonna be returning in the next few minutes to see what has gone on and to see what has happened here, because yeah, we're gonna rest the throat just a bit. We're gonna be returning in the next few seconds. Just hearing that there has been a problem for the Shakir Reza and Momo Suzunene, I think the damage for the internal damage of the cars has been terminal. So it's another massive twist in this championship battle here. If we want to know why Shakir Reza was going for broke, he knows he has a chance to win the championship, and he knows that if he can win this championship, he's got to do it in style. But of course, that in style level of performance is not doing him any favors, because right now the parts are failing inside the car, and they're looking into the car's internal, and they say, nope, we're done. And looking into the components here, you can see here it's pretty much overheated, and Shakir Reza is not going to take any further part in this race. A massive commiseration for all of the Netco involved. Engine failure is reportedly the reason as to why Shakir Reza is currently not going to continue in this race. And now, looking into the current situations here, Daniel Barger is ahead of Danilo Goyena, because right now, as it stands, Daniel Barger will be the one who will be winning the Split B championship. And actually, scratch that, he's also going to be winning the overall championship. A massive twist in this race here, but instead of Max Verstappen in Bahrain 2022, it's not coming into the final laps. We're in the second half of this race, and as you can see here, going broke doesn't necessarily mean going for victory, because sometimes you have to balance out performance and reliability, and with Shakir Reza going broke on performance, reliability has to fail. If you don't sort this one out though, if you don't balance it correctly, then it's gonna pay you a price, and now Shakir Reza is gonna have to pay the price of DNFing inside that car. He's not gonna take any further part. What a massive loss for all the Netcos involved. Oh dear. So anyways, let's take a look into the remaining drivers in this race. 25 drivers are still competing in this race. The best of the international cars are currently between Lance Orix and Brendan McConley, leading in both the ID and EN classes respectively. But Lance Orix has the overall standings up for grabs. As you can see here, there's a lot of infighting between the drivers between Brendan McCauley, and you can see here a lot of side-by-side battles. You can see here Anita Perez diving down the inside of you can see here against Mazzy. You can see a lot of drivers coming into pit. We are looking at Aaron Mazzy and Vladislav Domashnev, but mostly just Aaron Mazzy for now, as Domashnev still continues to lead this race. It has happened before, it has happened again for the Reza siblings. They just can't catch a break here in Sepang and Formula Hololive in particular, and also Hololive GT3 in Sepang for this season. They've definitely got to put this as one of their races to forget, especially for Shakir Reza. And just like his brother, it goes a begging. Vlasa Damashev is still stationary inside that pit lane. Lorenzo Ricci is going to go around turn 15 to maybe, just maybe, consolidate this race lead. I think the answer is going to be yes, because Damashev still has a lot of pit lane to go. Ricci is coming on, and he will be in. He's in first place. And looking into the tires situation here, Damashev have the freshest tires than anyone so far. He's just come out of pit lane. Ricci and DCM have at least 3 laps older tires than Daniel Barger. So Barger might just have some kind of chance. And looking into the drivers who have already pitted, I think all drivers have already pitted, as you can see here. But anyways, after Shakib Reza has an engine failure that cost him the race, which has got to be very heartbreaking for Shakib Reza at the moment. He has been very dominant all this time, but then his car failed him because he went for power rather than reliability. And that's not, and of course Shakib Reza has to be very disappointed on that result. Massive commiserations again for Shakib Reza and all the Nekos involved, and for Moses and Nene. It's a massive gut punch, but then again, this is racing, anything can happen. And looking into the home drivers here in Sepang, there is not going to be any at this rate. The highest Malaysian driver is currently Sean Goliath in 6th place. You can see here Goliath on the same strategy as Barger, but Barger just aced the pit stop slightly better than Goliath, and with that, Barger manages to stay ahead of Goliath, even though Goliath was blocking Barger throughout the first half of this race. $18 laps to go here in Sepang. If you thought you have seen it all, you haven't seen all of it just yet. Of course, if you look at the Moses and Nene driver, he is visibly frustrated. He's just like, what is going on here? He's like, oh come on, not now. And right now, he's looking to be very much inconsolable at this rate. It's a race that goes begging for both Reza siblings who have lost these championships in amazing circumstances. But right now, it's now going down to Daniel Barger. If he can hang on to 3rd place, he will be the Split B and overall champion. Well, not overall champion, but overall split champion. Speaking of Jeff Clark, he has pitted pretty early in this race, and he is currently acing this attack very well here. If you remember Jeff Clark, he was on the outside of the top 20. He gains each of these positions one by one, and now with him looking to find a spot against Alex Grant. If you look at Jeff Clark and where he started on the front row with Shakib Reza, so you can see why Clark is on the attack. He has a top 2 car at least, and he knows he has a car that could potentially win this race if he is aggressive enough. And now Jeff Clark is definitely pretty aggressive. He's going to bring out the Oni in himself and try to channel his demon powers like Adak-RMS to try to get his car to at least top 5. And right now he's on a run. And Daniel Barger actually faster than DCM on that last lap. 145 for Barger against DCM's 146. This is going to get pretty juicy and interesting because Barger is not satisfied with 3rd place. He's looking for 2nd. Oryx and Sinful side by side, and it's now gone down to Sinful's advantage, but not for long. Remember, these international cars have better straight line speed than the JB class cars, and now you can see here Oryx trying to hang around the outside against Sinful. Oh, you can see here Oryx and Clark going side by side, but Oryx looks to have this spot in the bag. But I can't say that for sure because look at Clark. Sorry, that's Sinful. Going at it onto Oryx. Turn 2. Oh, a messy turn 2 for Oryx. Sinful now goes up to 10th. So anyways, So anyways, good point there. Jim Clark, same surname. He is definitely going to attack. Attack is his mind. Is in his mind right now, but whether or not he aces the tire roll, that remains to be seen. Paulie has been overtaken by Putri Farah Kamal here, while Sean Paulie might just want to attack back. Down the inside into turn 4. The Coronet driver is unable to steal 19th away from Farah Kamal. QCM currently in second place, trying to attack Lorenzo Ricci. But then again, looking into his pace, look at the pace difference between DCM and Barger. 5/10 faster is Daniel Barger's lap time against DCM, and now the gap's closing down to 1.9 seconds, and now there's another battle between Champagne and Perez. Coming down into turn 11, and you can see here Champagne goes for a move against Perez. Can't really tell who's the faster driver all around, but remember, everyone has already pitted. So meanwhile, you can see here Champagne really trying to hang around the outside into turns 13 and 14. Perez tries to close, but an amazing move from Champagne seals his place in 17th place. But watch out for Anita Perez. She's gonna go for the counterattack. Down the outside goes Perez. Oh, you can see here Champagne manages to defend pretty well, but remember, Perez might be able to get him back at this main straight. Clark is closing into Grant. Perez against Champagne again into turn 1. You can see here, oh, there's a bit of contact between the two. You can hear some collision noises, carbon fibers hitting each other, and you can see here Perez has now lost out to Champagne for real. And now Paulie looks to defend against Bolatev. Bolatev tries to go for an opportunity to attack, but there is none at the moment. Zeke Wimberly currently in last place despite Okamimio hosting a summer party live, which is a bit of a shame. But again, he's representing a member who is best described as miso soup. No need to be flashy, no need to be the big name out there. Just need to be someone or something you can depend on. And Wimberly just wants to depend on a good result, and a pretty decent one at that. But then again, he's outside the points unless he passes Bolatev for JP Class 15th place. Let's take a look into the current order for the JP Class driver. Shakir Reza already retiring from this race due to engine problems. Running this car way too hard. Worse than it should, more than it should be, and it has paid its price. Wimberly against Bolatev for the final points positions in the JP classifications. Leading the international side of things, you can see here, there's a battle between Farah Kamal and Perez. Farah Kamal manages to overtake. She is showing a lot of pace here, even in Formula Hololive. As you can see here, Aldrich is leading in both the ID class and the International Series standings. McConnelly is the best EN class driver, but looking into Perez, trying to attack Farah Kamal. Not close enough. It's Farah Kamal's 18th place overall. Jeff Clark getting close to Alex Grant. We have heard of stories of Takanashi Kiara playing GTA 5 and GTA 4. And yes, this is one point where Kiara drives a car like crazy, and she was like, ah, wah, 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 and she was like, can I keep it? Well, depending on circumstances, if she can drive pretty well in this one, she can be placed in Formula Hololive and Hololive GT3, but then again, that's a long shot. But at least we have Corey Rico Mendez, who drove the wheels of the Kiara car to secure the EN class win. Anyway, Shalage has been overtaken, or rather, Shalage has overtaken Nasser Daham. Shalage is now up to 13th place overall, and in what should be 11th place in class. As you can see, Bolatev and Wimberly fighting for the final points position in the JP class. Oh, and Shalage now clears McConley as well. But for Wimberly, it's not lost on him to try to challenge for points. Sean Paulie goes around the outside. Perez. Perez is falling down. Her pace has been falling away. And now Perez on the inside. And looking at the current situation here, Paulie manages to defend. Hololive and Wimberly going at it. Wimberly now going down the inside. Who's going to be winning this one? And now Zeke Wimberly with a superior line, which is the outside line at turn 2, would mean that the Economy Mio car is now inside the points. Another short break is to ensue coming into lap 43 here. We're going to take a short break here. It's Lorenzo Ricci leading the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race. Will be returning on lap 44 and lap 45. Back here in Sepang in the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race, and now it gets interesting for the drivers at the front. You can see here lap cars playing a massive part of this race. Look at Wamakashiu blocking Lorenzo Ricci and Maverick Duciem, and now Daniel Barger is in contention to win this race. And you can see here Barger now looking for an opportunity against Duciem. As you can see here, Lorenzo Ricci tries to clear Wamakashiu. And now Barger is going to try to use Cashew as a pick. And as you can see here, he has already done so. As you can see here, Ducey has now dropped down to second place. Barger is getting very close to do something his predecessor Charles Thompson had done. Win a Formula Hololive race for Hoshimachi Suisei. We really need to take it easy on the commentary because obviously there has been pain on the throat. Just wanted to take it a bit easier. This is why we need second commentators. But meanwhile, you can see here Duciem trying to battle against Barger. Barger having a messy run into turn 2. But now you can see here he's really hoping he can use Cashew as a pick. And now Duciem is being blocked just a bit by the Mori Calliope driver and that number 4 car. Oh, you can see here Duciem is still being blocked there by the Cali car, not anymore. And now these drivers are going to be clearing the Cali car, the top 3. But now the next lap car is going to be Aramazzi. Aramazzi is actually quite far up the racetrack here, battling against Ishikawa the 3rd. But meanwhile, for the 3 drivers up front, they got a race to win. Wimberly continues his charge up front, up to the relevance in the points here. As you can see, Wimberly tries to overtake Anita Perez. We are now at lap 44, 13 laps to go here in Sepang for this Formula Hololive Sepang Grand Prix. You can see here, look at Perez's behavior. She has, I think, locked the rears. She broke a bit way too hard into turn 1, nearly spun the car out, but manages to defend 20th, pretty okay, at least 20th overall. But you can see here Wimberly is not resting on his laurels just yet. Look at Daniel Bolatev trying to catch up to the rest of the field. You can see here Ricci 145, Ducien 146, Barger 147. That's mostly because of the lap car that is Wamakashiu. He is now a lap down. Aramazzi, scratch that is Wimberly and Perez there. Perez have now been cleared by Zeke Wimberley, and now Zeke Wimberley is just using... Oh, and Fawaz Mori! Fawaz Mori has gone off at turn 9. I think that has been contact, but I think you see if Fawaz Mori tries to continue, but I think it's over for him. We have another DNFer, and that is Fawaz Mori, the 22-23 International Series champion for Hololive GT3, and he will be the next DNFer in this race. Cashew is now trying to clear his lines against Goyena and Goliath. Goliath is looking for a spot inside the top 5, and he's hoping that he can use this Cashew car as a pick. And you can see here Goyena's being troubled by Cashew a lot. And now you can see here Goliath diving down the inside of the Pecora car driven by Daniel Goyena into turn 11. The inside line of turn 12 is going to be very risky, as you can see here. Goyena takes it very cleanly, but Goliath tries it to overtake Cashew as well. I think he just might be able to get the job done. Oh, you can see here the battles just keep on going, and you can see here... Oh, you can see here Goliath isn't close enough to overtake Cashew, and that's going to cause him a good amount of issues. You can see here Goyena is actually not far behind. 11 laps to go here in Sepang to close out the split season once and for all for the 2023 Formula Hololive season. And right now, Ricci might just have some control, but he only has 2 seconds of the gap between himself and DCM. Lap car, Aaron Mazzi currently in approaching to turn 9. Lorenzo Ricci in turn 6, now coming to turn 7 and 8. Oryx has been overtaken by Monica Schlage, who has now jumped up to 12th place. But meanwhile, that's not over for Oryx. He tries to challenge, but it will not be enough. Goyena against Sean Goliath, round 2. You can see here Goliath. Oh, a bit optimistic there for Goyena to go 3 wide against Goliath and Cashew, and you can see here that brings Alex Grant, Jeff Clark, and Alton Center on. Now Jeff Clark now can try to make his move down to, well, up to 7th. But meanwhile, the races just keep on going, and it just keeps on delivering for all of you, for all of us watching. Oh, it is a driver who spun! It's Sean Goliath! Doing the same mistake as what Hector Bembe did last race here in Sepang. Goes off way too wide and coming into turn 11, and that is going to be him retiring. A third DNFer here. That's 3 cars out of this race. Sean Goliath thought he had the race of his life for Minato Aqua, but now he has to look into his car, beach into the gravel. Commiserations for all of the Aqua fans watching, and for Sean Goliath himself. It has happened to a lot of drivers here. Turn 11 has got to be something you have to watch out for. Don't dip your 2 outside wheels on the outside of turn 11. That is what Sean Goliath didn't do, and now he has to pay the price. He has now spun himself into the gravel trap. He has now beached his car into a gravel trap, and now he's gonna bring his car into a DNFing position. We have confirmation. It is indeed Sean Goliath trying to defend against Danilo Goyena on the outside line at turn 11. He went off wide and touched the grass, and basically the AstroTurf, less grip than the tarmac, forces him into a spin and forces him off wide into turn 11. You can see the tire markings there. Sean Goliath, another commiseration for another Malaysian driver. Now we are looking into a case where no Malaysian driver is going to win the Sepang races for both Hololive GT3 and Formula Hololive. And it's a massive shame though. The Independence Day for Malaysia is literally just around the corner. 11 days to go. And the fact that no Malaysian winners have come out of this race, it just screams a bit It's not really deserving, but then again, this is a meritocracy type of race. It's got to have a lot of competitors. We have competitors that deserve wins more. Out goes Sean Galile. Some want to argue that when you're being told to touch grass, and it did touch grass, and then you end up retiring from this race, that has gotta hurt. And Minato Aqua car in the DNFing position. It's really not the first time we have seen this before. And you can see here more battles here between Lance Oryx and Richie Raw here. Oryx just keeps falling down, and now Farah Kamal is gonna try to sweep an opportunity to get second place, which is basically an ID class an ID class lead. And now Farah Kamal does just that against Anya Melfisa, number 33, and now Farah Kamal gets into 13th. Wait, just want a bit of confirmation. Is there a sitting Malaysian Prime Minister currently watching this race? Well, we cannot confirm his presence then, but whatever the case is, the two Malaysian drivers out, and it's gonna definitely hurt any chance of a Malaysian winning a race here in Sepang. Well, at least in 2022, we have Shazin Reza and Kizuhara Leo winning at Sepang. That at least remedies up things. Lap 49 have just started. Lorenzo Ricci is now slower than both Duciem and Barger, who are now at least 0.5 of a second faster. And now the battle for the race lead extends to 4 drivers. Oh man, this is going to be shaping up to be an amazing finish. 8 laps to go here in the Sepang Grand Prix. Cashew is currently weighed down into the main straight. Perez is currently in turns 5 and 6. Lorenzo Ricci just exits turn 4, coming to turn 5 and 6. There's going to be a massive fight during the last laps. Perez is currently down in 22nd. This is going to be shaping out to be an amazing finish if this continues here. You can see here Duciem now really getting close up close and personal to Ricci. 0.5 is the gap. But then again, we look at Daniel Barker, who is currently in 3rd place. Vlad Sotomashev in 4th place. For Duciem, he has not performed much in both Hololive GT3 and Formula Hololive. But for Daniel Barger, who has seen a lot of performances in both, but specifically Formula Hololive, Barger knows he's got an opportunity to bring win number 2 for Hoshimachi Suisei this season. He's going to do something Charles Thompson had done in his sole Formula Hololive races, and that's to win a points-paying race for Hoshimachi Suisei. Now you can see here Barger is faster than Duciem. Duciem is faster than Ricci. Oryx continues his fall. Now he is looking to be at risk down to 16th place. His tires have definitely lost a lot of grip. And now Sean Pauli tries to have a bold move on the inside at turn 6. And now Pauli gets up to 15th. Wimberley clears McConley as well. Some of the EN class cars are falling down like rocks as we're looking to conclude what has been an amazing 2 weeks here in Sepang. The Sepang Grand Prix Split B race should decide both Split B and the overall title, and now it goes by the way of Daniel Barger. But Daniel Barger is hoping that he could cap off his split season with a win and Split B and overall championship. More drivers going through into this battles here. Wimberley clears Lance Oryx. Wimberley is in that final point position, but is he able to clear his fellow gamers teammate Sean Pauli? That's something we'll have to pay attention. And then you can see here Ricci. Now, but all of these drivers have now caught up to the back of Perez. And right now we have another lap car who is going to be shaking up this battle for this race lead. And as you can see here, 4 drivers in contention, 4 drivers within nearly 2 seconds between each other. And now DCM getting very close there to Ricci. Ricci's being held up by the lap car of Perez. When we exit turn 2, I'm gonna guarantee you that there's gonna be a lot of chaos and a lot of fighting between these drivers. DCM getting close to Ricci. Ricci's getting a bit close to Perez. Close. Too close. DCM's looking for a spot. Barker's gonna try to look for an opportunity. It's gonna get pretty spicy there coming into the final few laps here. What promises to be an amazing run to the checkered flag. And you can see here DCM is still looking for a shot against Ricci. Ricci's still being blocked by the lap car, or continues his fall, but not for long. You can see here he tries to put Daniel Bolate down into the back down. Or it was up a good fight, but I think Bolate might have a shot. Maybe, but now we can see that DCM is now trying to clear Perez on the outside, and actually DCM manages to clear, and Barger manages to defend against the Moshnev just a bit. Barger dives down the inside into turn 9 just to try to keep himself relevant between himself and the race lead if he crashes, but right now it's not happening. You can see here, oh, Daniel Barger spins! Just like Sean Galile, the Akusui cars both going down and out. Daniel Barger did the same mistake as what Hector Bembe and Shaki Reza did. This is not. He knows he's lost his race. He's got to be very frustrated. Some people might have to ask that what he's doing is a bit too much. He only needs to consolidate his 3rd place finish for him to secure the Split B Championship. But now, neither of the 2 favorites are going to be winning the Split B Championship. And looking at that Danilo Goyena, he is going to be the one that's going to be taking the Split B and overall championship at this rate. And now goes down to 2 drivers remaining. And now looking into Goyena, he needs to be 4th or better if he wants to win the Split B and overall championship. 4th or better is enough to beat Cal Gibbons' points tally. 130 points for 4th. That means he will have his car, he'll have his team score 480 points. This will beat 482 points. This will beat Cal Gibbons' 466. So at this point, we have 2 of our championship favorites here in Split B crashing or having their retirements done in the pit lane. This has got to be one of the most unbelievable scenes we have seen in the history of Formula Hololive. What a conclusion to this race that we have been seeing. Daniel Barger has this race in the bag. He really didn't have to be this aggressive, but then again he did. He did the same mistake as Sean Galile, and that costed him the championship, at least the Split B championship. But looking into the Formula Hololive JP order, we are looking at Zeke Wimberly and Daniel Bolatev now guaranteed to score points, but Daniel Barger is also guaranteed to score points despite crashing. Remember, he crashed as they passed 90%, so he will still be classified by Formula 1 standards, and he will still score points even if he DNS because he has a secure 15th place in minimum. It's not really Abu Dhabi 21 in terms of the controversial race direction, but in terms of last lap's drama, yes, there is. And right now, looking at Daniel Goyena has got to be very excited when he's being relayed over to the radio that he is in position to win the Split B and overall championship. And now looking into the battle for the top 3, that was the top 4. It's definitely not over yet for some. Lorenzo Ricci has not won for Hosho Marine in Formula Hololive. He has won for Hoshimachi Suisei in Hololive GT3. And now looking at Lorenzo Ricci, who have actually secured a good finish in the Our Bright Parade Grand Prix Split B race. Lorenzo Ricci. is gonna try to win in his 4th outing for Hosho Marine. The Kaizokudan, basically Marine's crewmates in her pirate ship. He's definitely kind of one of them, but looking at the current standings here at the moment, Ricci still controlling this race from the race lead, but he only has a second buffer to manage. Starting lap 54, 3 laps to go. Who knows if there is going to be any more surprises? Who knows if there's going to be any last lap drama? And speaking of last lap drama, here we can see Dusiem and Domashnev battling out side by side. Goyena has just crossed the line. The gap is pretty big between 3rd and 4th. Right now we have 3 title contenders remaining in this race. Danilo Goyena and also Antanarao, as well as... Hang on, just we need to check back. Danilo Goyena. We also have Zach Champagne and also Antanarao. Champagne is actually down in 13th place. Antanarao is down in 6th place. Danilo Goyena is currently in position to win the Split B championship. If it goes by the way of Goyena, he will be the Split B champion. And as you can see here, Ricci's getting very close there to McConley and Oryx there. Oryx have lost out on a lot of positions. Speaking of progress, let's take a look into the progress charts. And Tannerau gained a lot of positions from 11th to from 17th to 6th. Best gainer of this race so far. But one of the biggest losers have got to be Shaka Freza, Sean Golial, and Daniel Barger. Definitely a lot of pain for each of these drivers. It's not really Vettel Sao Paulo 2019 because that was because of collisions. There was a collision between teammates. Hamilton 2016 was caused by an engine fail, so you can probably attribute this to Shaka Freza. Maybe we can think of Vettel 2018, Germany at Hockenheim, if you want to use that analogy. But anyways, and then for penultimate lap, there's not where race is not settled just yet. You can see here Damasha trying to attack Duciem. As you can see here, these three leaders are gonna be blocked by lap cars. Oris and McConley are gonna be spicing up this race for what should be an enthralling final few laps. The final 2 laps of this Sepang Grand Prix Split B race is heating up at the moment. Duciem is looking to attack Ricci, who is also gonna try his best to use these lap cars as a pick. Damashnev is not far behind. Any of these three can win this race, or you can see here Damashnev going down the inside of Duciem for 2nd place. Damashnev was the 2023 Split B champion for Hololive GT3. He's looking to show his skills in Formula Hololive as well. He's showing to have a lot of pace here in Sepang. This is his first outing here at Sepang, and he's doing it absolutely amazingly. You can see here side by side with Duciem. Duciem manages to hang it around into the track limits. Still side by side between Damashnev and Duciem. And you can see here Ricci trying to find a way to get past the lap cars of McConley. And now you can see Damashnev diving down the inside to challenge for first place and to win the Sepang Grand Prix Split B. The last lap beckons for these three drivers. And if anything, we can't really predict who is going to win. Ricci hanging around the outside. Damashnev trying to use the slipstream to his advantage to steal positions and the race lead away from Ricci. It's gonna go by the way of the Rosenthal. It's gonna go by the way of Laszlo Damashnev again, who has had a pretty forgettable season up to this point, but now he might have something to remember. Damashnev takes the race lead away from Lorenzo Ricci on the last lap pass. But it's not over yet. He just needs to clear these 2 lap cars pretty easily and to not be a sitting duck. We might be seeing a photo finish at this rate if neither of these drivers in the top 3 are careful. We might be seeing crashes if we're not careful. You can see here Damashnev going very aggressively against the lap car of Brendan McCauley, and now you can see Oh, Lorenzo Ricci! Oh, they spun out! Oh, the two drivers spun out! Domashnev thought he had this race in the bag, but now he has been collected by Lorenzo Ricci, who went on to have a crazy dive bomb on the inside. What is this final lap we're seeing? And now Domashnev looks to be the next DNFer in this race in his final lap. Lorenzo Ricci went on a crazy dive bomb on the final lap to try to secure this win, but now it's not really secure this win. And now look at Dusiam nearly spinning out his car, exiting turn 14. It's not over yet. You can see Ricci trying to clear McConley, but will McConley cause enough trouble for the leading driver? That's Lorenzo Ricci. Ahoy to everyone who's currently watching, because we've been seeing one of the most amazing races in Formula Hololive history. Lorenzo Ricci wins the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race, but eyes are gonna be on Danilo Goyena, Split B and overall champion of 2023 Formula Hololive Japan. What have we been watching? That is what everyone has been telling. That's what everyone has been circulating on the chat room, social media, because we have been seeing one of the craziest races in Formula Hololive history, and Tannerau just manages to sneak into a top 5 even after all of this chaos. Some are in stunned silence, some are screaming, but let's be fair, everyone have got to applaud all these drivers for racing until the end. We have been seeing everything. A last lap pass, crashes for the race lead, championship implicating crashes and retirements, a first time winner, and an unlikely champion. Unbelievable. And even after all that, because the Domashnev started the final lap in the race lead, he will be classified as 19th. The last drivers are going to cross the line. And here we see the last driver here, Lance Oryx. We have to stop because I gotta rest my throat. Just want to go into intermission just a bit because the race has formally concluded. We just cannot believe our eyes. It's unreal what we have been seeing. Crashes galore, passes on the final lap. We are going to be checking through a lot of these incidents one by one. Anyways, Lorenzo Ricci wins this race. First win for Hosha Marine. And his first win in Formula Hololive, coming in at one of the crazy situations we have ever seen. Maverick Duciem gets his second consecutive podium for Shishiro Botan in Sepang, one in Hololive GT3, one in Formula Hololive, and Danilo Goyena caps off an amazing performance for him, taking over Miguel Castro's work. Goyena has shown that he is now an elite driver for Usada Pecora. He is now your Split B and overall champion for the 2023 Formula Hololive Split season. Alex Grant, 4th place for Yukihana Lamy. That's gotta be a refreshing sight to see for all the Yukimin. Alderson turnaround car number 5 for Okayu finishes 5th. Jeff Clark's comeback just puts him short of a top 5 finish despite starting 2nd for Nakiri Ayame. Johansson full car number 7 for Nasir Matsuri. He finishes 7th. Nasir Daham actually finishes a very solid 8th place for Sarasvana. Monica Shalaga 9th and Richie Raw 10th place, representing Murasaki Shia and Shirakami Fubuki respectively. Jafar Kamal doing very well here to consolidate what should be an ID class win for her in 11th. Zach Champagne 12th for Amane Kanata. Farakawa represents Pavili Arene. Sean Paul and Zeke Wimberley, Gamers 13-14. Inagami Korani and Okami respectively. Daniel Balata finishes 15th for Tokoyami Toa. Bonnie Shikawa the 3rd finishes 16th for Honor Kroni. Aramati for Iris finishes 17th. Lance Oryx finishes 18th for what should be Anya Mafisa. Falasa Damasha started the final lap, having a shot of winning this race. He crashes on the final lap. He will be classified 19th, ahead of Brendan McConley in 20th. And then looking into the rest of the field here, Brendan McConley represents Galgura. Anita Perez, 21st place for Hakos Bales and Mama Cashew, 22nd for Mori Calliope. And these are your last classified finishers, apart from Daniel Barger, 23rd for Hoshimaki Suisse. He's one of the two favorites to win this championship, but it has gone a begging. Same goes for Sean Goliath, who started very well in this race, but has now crashed out, spun out on lap 46. He finishes 24th in the classified standings. Falls Mori had a contact with someone in turn 9. He finishes 25th after he has an incident on lap 44. Shakib Reza, after having a problem with his engine, means that he will be classified last. So yeah, one of the craziest races in ARO history have just taken place. Let's take a look into the replay to see what has happened. First of all, let's take a look into Falls Mori and to see what has happened. So let's take a look into the replay session to see what has happened. Falls Mori goes off wide. Oh, you can see here he gets tagged by Zach Champagne. And Falls Mori just isn't able to restart due to the amount of damage in the car. And that will be his race over. And that was his race over. So anyways, looking into what happened to Champagne. Let's go on board number 57 to see what just happened. Here's Jack Champagne exiting turn 7 and 8. Oh, you can see here's Champagne tries to break onto the grass here and just tags the Muna car. That's just nasty from Champagne. Don't know if there are penalties afoot, but because he's been blocked by the other drivers and he is in a position, he might just be in the clear. But then again, Falls Mori was in a position to definitely be a contender for top 5 and top 10. So there might be something that's going on. So anyways, let's take a look back into some of the other incidents. Sean Goliath. So let's take a look into what has happened to Sean Goliath's race, especially at this stage. You see here Sean Goliath was really trying to find a way past Mamakashi, the lap car. Lap car is playing a massive role into the excitement of this race. But you can see here Sean Goliath have gone in way too deep into turn 7 and 8. That's going to allow him to be pressurized by Cashew into turn 9, but Cashew manages to hang on around into turn 10. And coming into turn 11, you can see here Sean Goliath makes the fatal error of dipping his toes into the grass. And that puts him into a DNFing position. Let's take a look back into what happened. You can see here, exiting turn 9, Sean Goliath is on board. You should not be dipping your toes like that coming into this turn, and Sean Goliath have paid the price. For Daniel Barger, he obviously didn't learn what he heard about Shakib Reza. So let's go on board with him in the next few laps. Daniel Barger side by side with Perez. Perez has the inside line to turn 10. Barger really should have conceded. But again, Barger had a good run. Same mistake to Sean Goliath. Carbon copy of what happened to Sean Goliath. Going on to the on track cameras here, seeing what has happened to Barger. Let's look at one of the other angles. Ooh. Yeah, same mistake as his fellow Akusu starting teammate there. Massive commiserations for Barger. But for the rest of the field here, let's take a look into what has got to be one of the most memorable final laps. Let's take a look at Lorenzo Ricci's onboard on that fateful final lap. You can see here Ricci is literally trying to fend off against Domashnev. Domashnev have had this race in the bag. And as you can see here, Domashnev has every chance in the world to try to clear these lap cars. And he tried to look into an opportunity at turn 6. As you can see here, Domashnev. Oh, you can see here, goes very deep but couldn't complete the pass. And then he was looking to an overtake here against McConley. But then again, Ricci makes it 3 wide. Makes contact with Domashnev. That's gotta be crazy. And maybe crazy is just an understatement, because let's take a look back into Ricci's onboard as Ricci tries to make it 3 wide. I don't know if this is a racing incident or not, but you have got to say that for Domashnev, that has got to hurt a lot. He knows he has this race in the bag, especially after what has happened to the front runners. It's another onboard for Domashnev. Ooh, gets tagged. So you can see Domashnev thought he had a space, but he had space, but then Relentless Ricci channeled his inner Ayrton Senna, and that is the end of it. So because of that, it's going to be pretty tricky to call this one, because I don't know if it's going to be a penalty or not. Some people are going to call it a penalty, but because we're all racing hard for the final lap, Ricci is looking for an opportunity to take this win, but obviously we're going to need to pay attention to current advancements. Will there be a penalty? We'll have to watch. But I think in terms of the fun factor, but I think we should not have this penalty. So yeah. So anyways, we can only show you the top 5 of the Formula Hololive standings here, because we have drivers in the top 8 and they are going to be mistakenly classified for points. The full point standings will be seen in the Adak-RMS account, the Twitter account or X account. So with that out of the way, the final race of Formula Hololive has now come and gone. It has been one of the most memorable races to commentate here. So anyways, let's take a look into the championship standings once and for all for the top spot at least. Because now we have confirmation. Danilo Goyena with 502 points over Callum Gibbons' 466 means that Danilo Goyena is going to be your Split B champion as well as the overall Split champion. Capping off what has got to be one of the most amazing races in Formula Hololive history. We have seen it all. Danilo Goyena takes the lead for the elite Usada Pecora. Well, not exactly elite Miko, but world domination for Pecora has definitely going underway. Shakib Reza is in second place for Momo Suzunene. Going way too fast means you're going to stress your car's components, and he learned that the hard way. He is now retired, and he is left wondering why he is now in second place and losing the Split Championship. Daniel Barger as well. He has also had this race in the bag, but a costly error in the final few laps has cost him the chance to win the Split B championship as well as the overall championship. For Lorenzo Ricci, he's done very well to get himself back into the top 5, but he knows he's still got work to do, especially coming into the knockout season. Zach Champagne rounds out the top 5 with a pretty decent performance. He stays in 5th place. And that's all that we can show you to everyone. And for everyone, looking, here is the Split B trophy, and it's going to be awarded to Danilo Goyena for his amazing run to the Split B championship. And also for the overall Split champion, it's also going to go to Danilo Goyena, doing very well to be the best out of anyone here in the Split season. Congratulations to Danilo Goyena and Usada Pecora for winning the 2023 Formula Hololive Japan Split Championship, as well as the Split B Championship. And anyways, that's it for me. I'm Mama Reza, and you've been watching the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race here in Sepang. And again, congratulations to Danilo Goyena and Usada Pecora.